Good afternoon. My name is Martin Brennan. I'm the Executive Director of International House. And on behalf of International House, it is my pleasure and honor to extend a very warm welcome to our guest of honor today, His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince of Norway, Haakon Magnus. Thank you for coming. I would also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency, the Ambassador to the United States from the Kingdom of Norway, Verger Steman. Thank you. Also like to thank our Chancellor, Robert Bergenot, for joining us today to present the iHouse Alumnus of the Year Award to His Royal Highness. And of course, it's truly a pleasure to see such a wonderful audience of board members, alumni, residents, distinguished members of the faculty, and friends of International House. Thank you so much for joining us. You can clap for that too if you wish. At iHouse, we treasure our very special relationship with Norway. And we are very fortunate each year to have with us a large contingent of Norwegian residents, like those who have joined us this afternoon. And one wonders if perhaps, just maybe, the prior presence of a certain crown prince may have something to do with this. There is an old Norwegian saying, "Borte bra, hjemme best," which somebody may have understood, but I'll translate for those who don't understand my Norwegian. It translates as, "Away is good, home is best." It is in this spirit that I would like to invite to the podium my predecessor, iHouse Executive Director Emeritus Joe Lurie, who has, among his many distinctions, the distinction of having been the Executive Director while a certain Crown Prince was residing at International House. He was the Executive Director while Crown Prince Haakon was away from home, but at home with us. Joe Lurie. Please.
What a pleasure to be here with you again. Reflecting back on my time at iHouse when His Majesty was here, I'm going to refer in my very brief remarks to not His Majesty, but His modesty. And reflecting back during that time reminds me of a Japanese proverb, which many of you may know, and it goes like this: "When a nail sticks up, hammer it down. Don't draw attention to yourself. Be modest. Be self-effacing." So let me just tell 2 or 3 brief little anecdotes about why that was so striking during your time here. Some of you may know that graduate students at International House, I think this is still the case, Martin, are entitled to single rooms, and that undergraduates normally take double rooms. And His Modesty was an undergraduate at the time and could have had a single room for privacy reasons and for security reasons. He chose instead to have a roommate. He said, "I want to be like everyone else, and I want to have a normal life." You can imagine at the time, with news flourishing about the Crown Prince of Norway coming to Berkeley and perhaps living at International House, that the rumors were such at the time to make Twitter look like something that is primitive. And so when the Crown Prince came to International House, I felt, given the electricity in the air, that it would be an important thing for me to have a conversation about how to handle this sensitive situation. And as many of you know, when new students come to International House, they go on a retreat And in that year, we went to the Marin Headlands. And I asked Haakon, if I may, to come to my office to discuss how we would handle this, because so many people were saying, is he here, is he not here? And we discussed how we would deal with this at the retreat out in the Marin Headlands. And Haakon said, no need to introduce me. If someone brings it up, we will deal with it accordingly then. You can introduce me then. At the retreat, see if you remember this, we paired off and new students interviewed each other. And a young lady, as I recall, interviewed Haakon, and she introduced him, not recognizing who he was. And she introduced him as Haakon Magnus from Norway, who was studying political science and international relations. Is that right? And she introduced him, and she said, you know, and I asked him what he was going to do with that discipline. And here again is his modesty. The answer was something to do with government service. Now, with Halloween coming up, you may be surprised to hear that Haakon was asked if he would serve as a judge. You remember that? Okay, we'll bring back the memories. And indeed, he was a judge to help select what was the best, most creative costume. And what I remember about this is that in the time of outrageous creative costumes, Haakon wore a disguise, a simple nylon stocking. No one recognized him, but it was another example of your modesty. So in the days following and the years following, many of us have followed your activities. And I wanted to say, just in closing, just a brief word about why, for many of us, there's a special pride in your having lived here, in your having carried forth the institution's ideals. In the wake of the recent tragedy in Norway, and referring to these recent attacks on what he called, and what Haakon called, an open democracy and multicultural society, he observed, we cannot undo what has been done, but we must fight for an open society where we see differences as opportunities. And also, in another speech, he spoke of recognizing the importance of recognizing that we have more in common than we have differences. So for all of us who shared this house with you at that time, on behalf of that community, I personally salute you for carrying forward the principles of this house. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to invite Chancellor Robert Bergeneau, Chair of the Board of Directors of International House, to present the Alumnus of the Year Award. Mr. Chancellor.
Thank you so much, Martin. In my capacity as Chancellor and also as Chair of the International House Board of Directors, I'm honored to welcome His Royal Highness, Crown Prince of Norway, Haakon Magnus, to his former home away from home, this remarkable place we know affectionately as I-House. In the 81 years since its founding, I-House's purpose, uniting students and scholars from around the world to pursue intercultural understanding, friendships, and leadership skills, remain as vital today as ever before. The Alumnus of the Year recognition has been conferred to the most distinguished leaders who have benefited these halls, who walked these halls and benefited from the iHouse experience, taking what they learned and applying it on the world stage in business, the arts, and in government. Other international alumni who have received this honor include economist and fellow Canadian John Kenneth Galbraith, former Vodafone CEO Arun Sarin, former UN High Commissioner for Refugees Sadaka Ogata, Oscar-winning documentary filmmaker Charles Ferguson, and former UN Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Jan Egeland, who's also from Norway. It is indeed an honor to confer the International House Alumnus of the Year recognition to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, particularly in light of his extensive humanitarian work. Since 2003, he has been a Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations to promote the Millennium Development Goals and to close the gap between the rich and the poor worldwide. The Crown Prince has said that he accepted this role because, I quote, "because I strongly believe that all people are equal and should have equal rights to realize their potential as human beings." What could be more representative of iHouse values than this statement? Crown Prince Haakon has met with refugees, advocated on the issue of HIV prevention, and recently has been invaluable in promoting healing and anti-violence awareness in Norway, both within Norway and worldwide following the shooting tragedy earlier this year. In conjunction with his service to the UN Human Development Report, he said, and I quote, "We need to be inspired by the people who have taken leadership and have shown us a way to which we can improve living conditions for everyone." So in recognition of your leadership, Crown Prince Haakon, it's an honor to present. First of all, I was told by my staff, because they noticed you didn't have a Cal Bear, to first of all present you with a Cal Bear. Sorry, Martin. So, do the Cal Bear first.
Okay, thank you very much.
But in addition, like the one I have here, in addition to present this pewter model of International House inscribed International House Alumni of the Year, HRH Haakon Magnus, presented October 25th, 2011 at the University of California at Berkeley. Yes, excellent. Kind of fun. There we go. Very good.
I'd like to invite His Royal Highness to say a few or many words as is his wish.
So, Chancellor, Director, Joe, everyone else, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for presenting me this honor of becoming Alumni of the Year 2 years back. 2009. First of all, it's great to be back here on campus. It feels really odd to be standing here in a suit. This was, my free time, my space, where I could wear my jeans and my T-shirt and walk around campus. So I was thinking, at least I can take off my tie. So I'll do that now. There goes the name tag as well. I do think actually that my experience here opened my eyes to the world in a different way. I'm sure many of those of you who are here now experience the same thing. Both the diverse population, student population of the campus, but also the experience here at International House. It's quite unique to get that insight in the world. I remember we used to have cultural nights here, and each country was to have a table with a flag and everything. And there was a fine line between sort of this being a peace initiative and the start of World War III. You had, you know, should there be a Kurdish table? How would you sort of do with the Palestinian and the Israeli table? There's all of these different things that came up, which was interesting, and there was a lot to be learned from that as well. I remember a lot of things here from iHouse. The parties, obviously. That was fun. iHouse was well known for good parties, and I hope that's still a tradition that's continuing to this day. Yeah? Yeah, okay. I started my DJing career here. I had one rule DJing, and that was never, ever, ever would I play ABBA. That was my one rule, right? So we used to have the parties up here somewhere. It worked pretty well, my rule, here at Berkeley. And then I went back home and I did this trainee course in the foreign ministry. The trainees do the party at every year there's a party at the foreign ministry. You know, everyone had to do something, so okay, I'll you know, spin some records. So I was supposed to be the DJ at the foreign ministry, and I sort of used the same formula that I used here. It really didn't work. Yeah, so I started up playing proper propeller heads, I think, and I went on to, you know, playing a bit of hip-hop and house and techno and stuff. No one were at the dance floor, absolutely no one. So I played ABBA. It was nanosecond, it was full. So, you know, your Berkeley experience can be used many places, but not all of them in all places. That was what I learned from that, I guess. It's a great community to be part of here at iHouse. And even though I didn't stay here my entire time, I moved out after a while. This was a place that we would come back to and hang out. And I still have contact with quite a few friends from that time. And there's a few of them here now. So that's really nice. So thank you very much for presenting me with the Alumni of the Year, 2009. It's great to be back. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Royal Highness, for making time in your very busy schedule to be with us. Thank you for taking off your tie, which I put on for you, but now I feel liberated. And also, I think henceforth, the Alumnus of the Year Award will be also known as the DJ of the Year Award. There is a old Norwegian proverb, which I just made up, which says, "Never leave with an empty suitcase." And with that in mind, I would like to, in addition to the pewter model of iHouse, provide you with an official iHouse t-shirt. So if you ever want to walk around incognito to a DJing event, you can have this on. And on a more serious note, a signed original poster celebrating the anniversary of International House by Berkeley artist David Goines. Normally we present these framed, but I have a funny feeling that would present a transportation problem because it may not fit in your suitcase. So if you could please accept these, we'd be very honored.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just have a few minutes left. If His Royal Highness would be willing to spend a few minutes to socialize with our guests, we would invite you to do so. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience. And we will do this again sometime. All the best.